Hi, I'm Chiamaka, and I'm going to read a poem called What Irishness Looks Like Today. It looks like life in lockdown 6 months later. Staying home, staying safe, and staying local. It looks like, while someone in Africa or Asia has it worse, while forgetting asylum seekers packed together like chickens in our own backyard. It looks like shaming Leo Varadkar for failing to fulfill social distance guidelines. It looks like the ruling class spitting in the mouths of Midland meat packers and Dublin Debenham workers, reveling in the bravery and sacrifice of frontline workers, but refusing to grant them higher pay or the dignity of better working conditions. It looks like masked laughter, sandwiched between longing for normality, for the good old days when we could invite ourselves into a stranger's house for a cup of tea. It looks like hearty dinners, boiled potatoes, cabbage, corned beef, and a glass of milk to wash the meal down. Or the undisputed joy of jollof rice and jerk chicken with a bottle of malt on a Sunday or any day of the week. It looks like a Fulcher Island ad. Fields of sheep littering lush green hills like ancient dolmens. Like the mystery of the Omstone or Brunabonia. Like myths and legends. Like banshees and all-night benders. It looks like the dream of wet pubs, open all night long, a sanctuary to all who are partial to the black stuff. It looks like an invitation to partake in the crack August cure, but knowing at any second a pure breed bigoted Irishman might tell you to go back to where you're really from. It looks like poet Felly Speaks and a new generation of black Irish hip-hop artists. It looks like Denise Chaila, the pride of Limerick trending on Twitter. Zambian Irish rap queen, dealing with death threats, afraid to leave the house in doubt that her life is worth much more, despite the value of her talent. It looks like Emma DeBarry, educating the Irish public on racial inequality, taking us all by the hand and leading us down the dark cave where whiteness first reared its ugly head. It looks like black girls seeking emotional ease, seeking intimacy, seeking out our own destiny, unashamed to show the kinks and doubts tangled up in our afro hair, sitting with our backs against a newly multicultural society that is unsure of our potential, with their eyes fixed on an endless horizon. My second poem is called Where Are You Really From? I was born in Echo, on ancestral Yoruba land, or Lagos for those in the diaspora or unfamiliar with the Lagos area. I took my first breath as a foreigner in a multi-ethnic megacity, a fortified cradle of all humanity. Hundreds flocked there for fairer weather from all corners, far and near each year. The city's fertile banks sprout over 500 lingua francas, though our tongues drown under waves of imperial imposition. It's old news, I know, yet it stings like alcohol on fresh wounds, like teeth being pulled. Each syllable of the Queen's English stitched into memory by one too many lashes of the English vice. I hail from the east, kingdom of the Igbos. The Awasas built empires in northern Nigeria. The Yorubas are indigenous to the west and made Lagos the center of excellence. Growing up in the beating heart of Nigeria, in a bustling community of young and old, we were well accustomed to decay as we were to growth. At Eid or Christmas, our small streets would swell with the sound of happy children, running around with round bellies, chickens crowing, crows cackling, pecking at the festered remains of our communal feast the night before. Our gutters overflowed with the remains of livestock, the blood of cows, chickens, goats curdling into a thick indigo sludge, the sickly sweet stench drifting through the breeze, proof of the intangible architecture of communal values. Each pulse put us closer in celebration. Each murmur merged our miseries into a shared condition, stirring our stories into a melting pot of madness, miracles, and meritocracy. Most parents want the best for their children, But in our homes, we were taught to be the best, to prove our worth, to use our brain, weighed down by the expectation that we only would and must elevate our families from poverty. In our homes, our mothers would mouth the biblical mantra, spare the rod, spoil the child. At school, we were slaves to teachers who'd mastered the art of humiliation. When each day is full of frustration, it is harder to draw the line between scolding and sadism. Stay in your lane if you don't want to chop cane. Shut your mouth, face your book. Don't you know Nigeria's future depends on you? Lagos is both heat rashes and rain-soaked uniform. Lagos is sleeping through mile-long traffic jams. Go slow every Sunday, as hundreds of families flock towards the promised land, in search of salvation, or at least the promise of sweet bread to soothe hungry bellies. Lagos is talcum powder-caked skin and caramel mud baking beneath the scorching rays of a cloudless sky. We soaked up the carnage after every April downpour, when the roads would turn into rivers that rivaled the Niger, and beige water would climb all the way up to our chests, threatening to swallow us whole as we trudged home from school. Lagos is a city of chameleons, of bus conductor every other day and choir master every Sunday without fail, of money chasers and culture makers, of music creators and world changers, where nothing is constant except change, and daily hustle is the name of the game. Lagos takes on the shape of whatever it wants. It borrows land from the sea without a budget in which to pay back. Still, it took me by surprise when I found out the house I'd spent the first 8 years of my life, coloring the beige cement walls with crayons I hid beneath my pillow for safekeeping, in disregard of the rules my parents enacted to control the boundless chaos of 3 youngsters, running up and down the dilapidated one-story building we called home at the time, had been swallowed up by a modest mansion. I approached the scene by bird's-eye view, paring down the blurred lens of Google Earth. I marveled at the massive green roof and the deep red and white mosaic stones of the outer walls. The new house stood unapologetic and unconsoling in the face of my fierce and necessary nostalgia, as if to remind me of the city's reality, as if to say, home is never where you last left it. Home is where you last felt like it. Thank you.